Time now for the markets with Layton, and we've got a new snapshot of the catfish industry. But the picture doesn't seem to have changed much, you say?
Not much at all, Artis. That story coming up first in the markets. Also ahead in this segment, analysts say hogs need to see an increase in domestic demand. U.S. cotton exports slipped some this week, while a new report suggests Brazil may soon dominate world soybean trade. The monthly summary of the U.S. farm-raised catfish industry was rolled out by the USDA on Wednesday afternoon, March 20th. The figures reflect what was happening in the month of February. Last month, producers received a pond bank price of 82 cents per pound. That is 40 cents per pound under what was paid 1 year ago. Farm sales totaled 30 million pounds round weight. That is an increase of 11% from February 2012. Processor sales were 15.5 million pounds. That's an increase of 8% from 1 year ago. In the hog sector, producers are waiting for that market to put in a bottom. If history is any indicator, this is about the time of year for it to happen, at least according to analyst Don Roos. He says an increase in domestic demand for pork products might just make it a reality.
Well, pork's had a real issue. You know, they were very similar to the cattle. You know, back last fall we were at $93 on April hogs. We moved all the way down to $81, $12 break. The hog market is deeply oversold now, and it's due for a seasonal low, very much like the cattle. Now, seasonally, hogs put in usually seasonally start to move higher the middle of March, and we expect that's what's going to happen. So, you know, they're primed to move higher if we get the proper catalyst. That's probably an increase in domestic demand.
Fuel inputs are definitely a cost of planting season. Now, the price of gasoline has tapered off some in many parts of the country after an earlier than usual bump up that started in February. But analyst Sue Martin says don't get used to it. She says she believes the needle will head higher once again as the growing season gets in full swing.
I think gasoline prices are going to still come back and try to be stronger. They've had a good correction off of that high that they got to, and crude oil, you know, reached the levels of up around 98, fell quite hard, and is now hovering a little over 93. So I still think that we're just kind of weaving away here, just narrowing in, killing time. But as we get closer in towards the driving season, I think you're going to see the gasoline prices hold quite strong.
Our trivia quiz this week deals with the aquaculture industry, and here's the question. What is the single largest ingredient used in the feed given to farm-raised catfish? The answer could be corn, or B, soybean meal, or C, rice, or D, wheat. You'll find out in a few more minutes. Estimates of slower U.S. export sales of cotton sent old crop cotton futures into a tumble late Tuesday. And then Wednesday's news that China and India may be releasing some of their cotton stocks really took the bloom off the market. Arkansas Farm Bureau analysts say it appears that recent resistance at 89 cents is solid. Global traders think China will likely unload 3 million tons of reserve cotton into the market between April and September. Doan's commentary reports that amount is 30% of China's stockpiles and nearly 4 times the amount China agreed that their mills could import at low tariff just last week. Well, grains and oilseeds were showing some strength at midweek. This included beans, where a double-digit rally appeared in a sector that had seen a lot of action in the minus column since the midpoint of this month. Extension Ag economist Brian Williams answered some questions about corn as well as soybeans this week. Brian, what's your take on new crop corn right now?
Well, right now our September corn futures are trading for about $5.90 compared to May is trading around $7.30. I see a couple things contributing to that difference. First of all, we have a record 99 million acres that are expected to be planted for corn this year. Second of all, the South American crop looks good right now. And third is the big question of are we really going to see as widespread of a drought across the country this year as we did last year?
Now the acreage report that we'll have at the end of this month, that will certainly likely move this market maybe one way or another as
right.
the planting prospects turn into perhaps real intentions.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the big driver this spring. We're kind of watching the weather. Midwest has got cool conditions, and in the South it's fairly wet, so that could delay some planting And if it delays it enough, we might see some corn switch to soybeans. So I think right now that's the big driver for U.S. crops.
And we have heard that an ethanol plant or two coming back online
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, and I don't think it's the corn prices that are particularly driving that, because they've kind of come up the last couple of weeks. But we've also, if you filled up lately, the gas prices have gone up as well. So.
All right, we've got about a minute left here. Let's turn to soybeans real quick now. We've kind of seen a break, or some call it a spiral downward in soybeans. What's happened in that market?
The big thing in that market is South America, particularly Brazil. They're rapidly progressing in their harvest, and we're also seeing that there was a USDA report that came out not long ago that says that it's potential that Brazil could surpass the U.S. in total soybean production. So they're definitely a big player in that.
Before this week's feature story is the trivia answer, and this week it is B. Soybean meal is the largest component of the feed used for farm-raised catfish, with some corn and rice ingredients as well.